fly, hey, hey, please stay. Don't fly, hey, hey, please stay. Don't fly, hey, hey, please.
Diego and everyone there, just thank you so much for allowing my group to be there and experience, what we did there. So from Cusco, we drive to Pisac, and we get situated, in our rooms. The rooms were really nice, comfortable. If you look at some of the pictures, it's like it's built into basically like a mountain. You know what I mean? It's like you've got the facilities and you just got mountain. A mountain over there. Like all the surrounding sides were mountains. So it was really beautiful to feel that energy, to feel like you're in the womb, and to not see a whole bunch of street lights or hear, alarms or anything going off, the constant buzz of traffic, to actually specifically hear the movement of the wind through the trees and birds building nests, and insects and just pure life sounds, pure life serenades, was just like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man. So I really, really, really love that part of it. So we started to go to different temples and sites. I don't remember the names of all the temples. I just know we did a lot of really powerful meditations at each one. So the beginning was, primarily getting together. We had a bonfire. We had a wheelbarrow bonfire. We just put some wood in the freaking wheelbarrow, put that joint in the middle, lit that baby on fire, and gathered around just to anchor ourselves with each other, because some people hadn't met our good friend Holly Meggett from Chicago, who's such a sweetheart, such a beautiful woman who said yes, found us on Facebook and decided to go on this trip. So it was beautiful, to be with her. So everybody met Holly and Rowana, another beautiful yogi gangster, who said yes, is a really good friend, dear friend to us, and just getting, just looking around to see who's going to be with us on this beautiful adventure. So, and sharing the purpose for why we were all gathered, in that space, and it just, I was overcome by emotion of the moment, of my intention really becoming clear in that moment, actually, because I had an intention to do all this spiritual, powerfully sounding, blah, 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 but really it was about me opening my heart more, me being willing to accept love, to contain a vast amount of love, of unconditional love from others as well as myself, to really begin to see who I was operating in this world as a servant of the light. So it was just like, that moment was extremely powerful. So the night started out very powerful as we all shared our intentions and why we were there, and why we hadn't known why we said yes, and we were looking forward to coming closer to that reason within ourselves. So the next day, boom, each day was kind of like boom, boom, we're very organized, so we like to make sure that we have a good flow, in regards to what we do, our activities in a specific given time and space, so that we really get a chance to see as much of this beautiful space as possible, and we have enough time to actually integrate what these spaces are meant to do, to have an effect on us properly. Because I really feel like, it wasn't like these cultures just made temples or they just built things because, it was to have a specific effect, a specific unseen but tangible effect on the psyche and the consciousness of those that actually either built the temple or were actually dwelling in the temple. There were complexes, you see. So it was very important for all of us, especially at Naam Miami Travels, to make sure that the people, as well as ourselves, had enough time and knew enough about the places we were going to efficiently integrate the energies and the meaning behind their existence. And I want to definitely give a shout out and much love to Amaru and Paulo, our two guides, and amazing human beings who are so dedicated to their culture and its proper definition and explanation. It was like an act of God to have been with them, because they really allowed for us to tap into the unseen meanings behind the spaces that we were, and the people, and all the connections that the land of Peru and its elders really have with everyone around the world. So it was such a blessing. Blessings to Amaru and Paulo, Naam, brothers. We love you always, right here. You know. Whoa, right? So we're going to these temples. We're doing Naam meditations, breath work. You know, my thing, because of I have a lot of Native American bloodline and lineage, you know, as well as European and obviously African. So I've always been about ancestral connection and about honoring my ancestors and the ancestors of the land that I go to, the cities that I go to. Always, they're there. They don't leave. So myself, you know, I really began, once that circle was there, and we've got a picture. I'm not sure. I think Maria Manzaneras, Maria of Naam Miami Travels, has a picture of like fairies and stuff during the night of our bonfire. So we pretty much anchored ourselves in, tuned in to the space, to the land, to the people, seen and unseen, and it was kind of like that whole trip was guiding us. You know what I mean? We ceased to be facilitators at that moment and completely surrendered the direction and the flow of where we were going and what we were doing, you know, to the universe and to the unseen powers that were working through us and unto us. So it's very beautiful and very miraculous how that works when you allow it to. So going through the temples, doing the ceremonies, feeling the energies, learning about how these beautiful people, these beautiful guardians of light, right, really operated day by day, and what they took serious in their lives. Their whole, it seemed as though a lot of their lives were dedicated to knowing themselves, to studying the earth and the stars, and then bringing that connection together within themselves. You know, like their days were dedicated to that. And I think that is kind of obviously where we are losing contact with ourselves here in our civilized world, in the Western world, because we rarely take time to study ourselves in relevance to who we are and what we do in this world and how we affect this world, and vice versa, how it affects us. It's just about how much money do you have, what kind of house do you live in, what kind of car you drive, you know, the survival things that attract us or repulse us from each other, instead of studying ourselves and how we relate to the earth and how the earth relates to us, and the stars and the planets, you know, and then incorporating all that into it. So it's not survival, it's an outpicturing of our consciousness moving through as life. So it's a bit backwards, which is how it's supposed to be, because we're children. We had to reset. You know, the darkness had to come, conquer, and suppress, and do all the things so that we could search within ourselves and see that these material things were unsubstantial for our survival, unsubstantial for our happiness, even. So back to point. You know, yeah. To see the dedication of these people really was clear that I needed to do that as well. As much of my time that's spent doing, you know, business, I have to spend just as much time and be just as interested, right, about my unseen aspects, you know, my soul, my emotions, my mental activity, just as I'm about looking fit or wearing, you know, nice clothes. These are dope pants, right? Joints. I don't think I would have rocked these pants unless I was fresh from Peru, you know what I'm saying? I have a changed sense of understanding, you know, but they're dope. Anyway, yeah, so very, very, very powerful temples, very meticulously done, and done with purpose. Every single rock had a purpose, was a teaching tool, you know, and that is just amazing to me, you know, the finite detail of their educational system, to where you can be standing anywhere outside of a complex or in a complex and receive a teaching from the elders there, the teachers that were there during that time. So walking through with Amaru and Paulo explaining the things that went on and how they worked, you can actually have a tangible feeling of the teachings that were going on there and that are still there, that are actually embedded within the rock. It's the reason why a lot of these sacred sites are built with rocks, because rocks are like storehouses of energy, of knowledge. So it's a beautiful thing to experience, having meditations in a space where thousands of people have gathered over thousands of years to study themselves and the stars and the nature of God and the nature of Mama Gaia, Pachamama, right?
Please stay, don't